Kahaunani o Haleakala, Korea. I was born in Hilo. My parents moved to Kuli'o'o on the island of Oahu when I was 3. And I lived there all the way till I was 18 when I left home. And my father's family is Lindsay and Palmaya Ulu. My father was born and raised in Waimea on the Big Island. My mother's Lokalia Reeves. She was born and raised in Kuli'o'o, where we were raised. Her father was also raised there. We just celebrated 100 years of the Reeves and Kealoha family living in Kuli'o'o. We have Pamai Aulu from the Hawaiian part of us that had married a Mr. Lindsay from Waimea. And then we have on my mother's side Kealoha that had married Miguel. So we have, for me, I'm a mixed Hawaiian, Portuguese, English. People know me as Nani Faye. I got that name because of my two sides of my grandparents. My grandparents, one side wanted to call me Faye and one side wanted to call me Kahaunani, so they ended up with Faye Nani, but my father's mother passed away, so my mother's mother got Nani Faye. It was, I don't know, I had to make peace in the family with that name. And my grandmother, Bessie Henrietta Makekau, she was born in Lahaina, Maui. So she has roots on this island from the Makekau side. And when was I born? I was born June 1st, 1944, just about when the World War was ending. It was like the Prohibition era and time, and the era when they didn't have, from what my grandparents told me, that they didn't have any poi. They had to ration their food, and with the poi ulu and all of those little shortcuts that they had. I was raised in Kuli'o'o. I attended Starved to Sea School in Wailaikahala. It's a Catholic school. Went there from kindergarten up to my senior year. Siblings. I come from a family of 14. There's 14 of us, and I have one brother that had passed away when he was 50. Right now, both my parents are gone. My father 2 years ago, my mother 3 years ago. If I named all of them, I'll be here forever and a day. And I was married for 36 years to a husband. His name is Wayne Paglinawan. He's a Filipino boy from the camps in Kihei. I have 2 children, Naomi, and she's named Kahaunani o Haleakala also, Leonarda, and she's married to a boy that was raised in Honolulu, Aiea. He's Hawaiian Filipino boy. I have a good son-in-law. He's good to my mopuna. And there's also Eloy Kila o Kuli'o'o Paglinawan. He's 30 years old and he's living with me now. He came back from Honolulu to live with me after his father passed away. What were you like as a kid? I was a tomboy. I could outrun most of the boys. I could even out-wrestle them. We used to chase master in mango trees that we had all along in 9 acres of land. Nobody could catch me. I was a good athlete. I was a good swimmer. And I also loved to read. I read all the time. I was a reader. I was raised in Kuli'o'o, and it was close to what's Hawaii Kai, that's in existence. When I was small, that place was not there was no Hawaii Kai, there was no channel, canal. It was all pig farms, cows, and chicken farms. That's where my mother got her vegetables and poi and pig from. It was from up in what we called Cocoa Head, and it's totally different. And when I was a young girl, we used to go crabbing and we used to go catch anai or mullet, picking limo. All of that is gone. Once they built the canal, it's gone. And then, from what I'm hearing, there's a group that's dealing with invasive algae or limo that has killed off the reef and the fish and the crabs that used to visit there. And of course the highway is there, construction. It's totally not the same. What did you do for fun as teenagers? Well, I can't name all of the fun I did have. Some I have to keep to myself. Um, but we did a lot of camping in Waimanalo. My mother was uh, I mean, we went camping at least 4 or 5 times per year. And she was also active in the Catholic Church and in the Democratic Party. So we did a lot of standing on the streets, holding signs, and plus my mother had opened up a catering business for luau's. So all of my teenage life, when she started, then because I was the oldest daughter of 14 children, I played the role of the second mother. So I had plenty work to do. We also did quite a bit of surfing. I used to go surfing out by what we call Point. Some people call it Kaiser. Some people call it Moanalua Point. And we did a lot of hitchhiking. We did all hitchhiking down to Hanama Bay, Sandy Beach, Makapu'u, and what they call now is small Makapu'u. That was all of my stomping grounds. I did mostly body surfing. I didn't do too much long board. Um, we did it on piper board. They didn't have those foam boards like they have now. So we used to just cut out a plywood and make it into a V, and then we would just go surfing with that. Um, I was pretty good at body surfing. Okay, schools, I already said that I went to one school, Star of the Sea. What did you do for a living? Okay, I did quite a bit of different things, but I was raised doing catering and ironing clothes. My mother ironed clothes for extra money, 10 cents a shirt. Can you imagine? 10 cents a shirt, and it had to be with that old starch style. I don't know how she did it, but I did a lot of ironing. Um, and serving of foods, whatever it takes to make a luau, to prepare, cook, and then service people, and then clean up after. And I had jobs. My first job was working at the legislature as a floor messenger. Then I did waitressing for 10 years, and then I went back to school and I got my BA in social work. I do social work at this time. What's my most favorite place in the world? Wow. Well, I love Maui, and I love the area of Makena and Hana. We raised our kids doing camping. We camped on every occasion that there was, every holiday. Um, my children are very familiar with many spots on Maui that people cannot access anymore because of hotel buildings and development and fences, and they didn't have that when my children was born. Most of Maui is my favorite place. I still love Maui. And the Makapu'u is my favorite place. That's where I had my favorite teenage memories, was Makapu'u Beach. When it's time for me to go, my ashes is going to go out by Makapu'u Beach. What is the most exciting thing that ever happened to me was when I went to, when I was, how old was I? I was 20 years old, and I had dropped out of college. I was in Napa, California, and my mother got me a job at the Hawaiian Pavilion at the New York Rose Fair. that that changed my life. I had dropped out of school because I wasn't making good choices at that time. So she sent me to New York, and I ended up staying there for 2 years. Well, actually 2.5 years, because after the fair was through, myself and this other girl, Carol Inamoto from Maui, we ended up staying up there and living there for another year. So I know what it's like to live in a city. Who was the biggest influence on my life? Um, was this teacher at Chaminade College. I was taking a history class from him, and he was one of the best men teachers, and he very much influenced my life. Um, I think about him all the time. What do you think of today's generation? Oh my gosh. I'm not that much of a computer illiterate. Well, I am computer. I'm not totally illiterate. Um, it's not even the same. I see my grandchildren with the texting and the phone, and hard for them to communicate and talk story because they're stuck in the games. Um, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna know how to talk to each other. They have to be texting. That's I find that really sad. But however, that's the generation that's coming up. What do you value most? Oh, I value my grandchildren. I really do. I love them very much. Um, I value transparency. And I use the word transparency instead of honesty because we don't all see honesty the same way. Um, I value that everyone has an opinion, and it's okay to be different. I value people being able to express their spirituality in any way that they feel that they can, as long as there's no harm to someone else. I value womanhood, and I feel that women need to be, oh, how can I say it without sounding like anyway, I just feel that women need to be valued more. Um, if you could do it all over again, what would you do differently? I would become a botanist. That's what I would do. I love looking at plants, and I love um, going hiking, and I love anything that has to do with botanists, because it includes animals and birds, environment and life and clouds, and so it just involves the world in which we live. What would you like to say to the future generations or family members who will see this? I don't know. I'm surprised Kano is asking me to even do this. Um, I guess what comes up for me is fear. If there's something that you fear, walk through it. Don't don't push it back. Don't go put it on the side. Don't let fear stop you from moving to the next level of growth. Um, Fear can be a really strong undercover that'll just stop you from really owning and accepting where your greatness is, because I believe everybody has goodness and everybody has greatness. Nobody's exempt, and fear can cover that up. So I don't know, just off my brain, that's what comes to me. Embrace the fear and walk through it. Don't hang on to it, don't hide it, don't float it, and don't make pretend it's not there. Face it head on, eyeball to all, eyeball to eyeball, maka kumaka.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't know, I hope I did good.